Good. Okay, so we'll have, so latest version is UFT. Okay, and so tomorrow is the last class, right, for us? Yeah, tomorrow is the last class, and tomorrow we'll discuss about various types of certifications. If you guys have not done it, tomorrow is a chance. You can you can work at that. Think about it. You have some amount of time. You can put something on your resume saying that okay, you are certified as a SQL tester, as a manual tester. Okay, whatever your interest is about. Okay, so you can work on that. So today, we'll work on QTP, and we are not going much into coding level, just a little bit. Just we'll look through a code and see how the code is, working on. But we are not going to work on the coding part. Okay, we are only, work like, let's say you are a manual tester. We are a manual tester, and you have a given job to do as an automation tester. So how do you want, how are you going to handle that? So we are going to just have a look into that. So this is not a QTP session; it's a introduction on QTP. Just an introduction. Don't think that it's a QTP, because that's like different different ocean altogether. Because QTP has lots of things to do. We are not going as a UFT developer or UFT automation developer or automation architect. Okay, those kind of things are completely different. You need to know each and everything. But we'll just go through our slides. Okay. So QTP, why do we use QTPs? We use it for automation tool. So it's an automation tool. Okay. So now we are, so let's say we are done with functional testing, we are done with the front end testing, let's say back end testing is done, let's say performance testing is also done. Now we are in regression testing. So regression testing is where you have to use a tool. Okay, most of the time, at least most of the time, some companies don't use for regression testing, but it's not appropriate, because you are using an, if you're working on regression testing, that means there has to be a tool. Okay, there has to be something to run around, because all the code fixes, all the defects, all are fixed. That the next moment developer has just tweak the code, just added some semicolon or just added some full stop there. That screws up everything. So we don't want our code gets screwed up and because of the application. So we need to do regression testing, and those guys don't inform, right? They don't tell you like what they change they have done. That's the worst part. So for that reason, you need to go through this regression testing. So here is the testing process. First, how does QTP work? QTP works on record and playback. So it's kind of like this. Like you are telling QTP that this is the scenario, this is the instances. That this is how the website works, and this is the buttons you need to click. Okay, you need to fill up this information, all those things. Recording session, that's what it's like. Tape recorder, right? This tape recorder. First you record what are you saying and play back. So that plays back the same thing what you have said. Okay, so that's the recording session. So that's how QTP works. Record and playback. Not always, but that is one of the scenario where we will be working on. So first you need to record. So what are you going to record? You are going to record the various, let's say, we have this website. Okay, demo.go. So you are recording whole session of this. What buttons you are clicking, what information you are typing here, what again you're clicking this button, how much time it is taking to navigate that page to here. So all these things are already recorded in the recording session. That is, recording. After recording, you get that, that script. That's called script. Okay. That's called test script. Okay. So this is the test case. This is test script. In this test script, what's written is this is based on Visual Basic code. So if you know Visual Basic, then it's good. You can go ahead and edit some of the features. If not, don't worry about it. Not always, we are going to edit it, but you can, have a look into this and how the code looks like, how you can tweak the code and how you can, modify some of the instances in this. So that's about enhancing the test. Debugging, you want to debug your, let's say recorded that session and you want to debug, you want some features here, you don't want some feature, there's an issue in the recording, you have to do this debugging. And running this test and analyzing the results. Okay, so what happens in this, once you run it, so that the framework, which is designed of framework, what is a framework? Framework, to be in a layman's language, let's say, it's a layman language, what I would say is structure of the directory. How the directory structure is organized. You have test scripts, you have screenshots, okay, you have test results, you have analyzers results, you have the defects. You put all in one directory and you create subdirectories and levels of directories, and that's called framework. Okay, not exactly that is a framework, but that's in layman's language to understand what's a framework. So that's how you organize your work. So it's for organizing because everyone in the team will be accessing it. Right? And then you report the defects. So here you're not supposed to get too many defects. If you're getting too many defects in regression testing, then QA guy will get hold of it. Why? Because the next question that comes from your boss is why it was not identified in QA, why it is being identified in regression testing. That's the next question, which is which is a valid question, right? This is a very valid question to me. Why the defect is showing up in regression testing? Why not in QA? Because see, when the defects are shown up in the later stages, it costs a lot of money to the the company. So the more faster it gets fixed, more the level if it's identified in developer, that's very good. Just everyone wants to fix in the developer, but you have tester. If it fixed, it's good. Once it comes to regression, it's not something which should show up. You should not get many defects here, because if you get defects in regression testing, then QA guy will get hold up, not these regression guys. Okay. Okay, so this is the testing process. Prepare record. Okay, first record it, enhance the test, where you can either tweaking the code or removing some part of the code. You don't like it, remove it. Okay, or add some new part of the code, some functionality. Okay, you can do that. And debugging, of course, you want to debug that code and running that. So most of them, as a QTP tester or EFT tester, you will be running the test. That's it. This is not our job. We don't do this because this is a senior level. Preparing to record, you can do that, but if it's a static website, not always. You need to do coding, because if it's a dynamic website where the buttons keep on changing, the fields keep on changing, you cannot do all this. Okay, so you cannot record it. You need to do descriptive programming. So that's the whole thing altogether. So we'll just take a look on this. But this is the basic scenario. Okay. Here will be, as a QTP tester or, QA tester, sometimes, if you're a senior QA, they hire you as a senior QA, okay? So once you're a senior QA, you demonstrate yourself that you also know some automation too, because, you are a QA and there is not some scenarios where you have not come across QTP. So there should be some part of your life that, you're used to. So that's the reason, right? So that's why they give you this job. Okay, so now why don't you run the test, okay? Once you run the test scripts, okay, you get these results and you need to report the defects. Okay, so next, let's go to the next slide. Next, we have add-in manager. So why do we need this add-in manager? So QTP cannot do everything by itself. Okay. Because let's take it here itself, an example here. Okay, so let's say we take google.com. Let's quickly check that. Since this code has so many other functionalities and features. Okay, so we just see here just edit box and just Google image and this button, but technically this is not so easy as is shown here in the code. You see this, how big the code is? You just see here one box, one image, that's it. Button which don't even require to run this. But back end, if you see that code, that looks so huge, right? So this has so many things. It has JavaScript, it has HTML, CSS, HTML. Okay, it has if it is a video, okay, you don't have video here, but if they add some video script or something, there will be Flash player or something. Okay, so all these things are integrated in just one one website. So QTP don't know everything. So what you need to do, there is add-in. So what you add, a different add-in. So there is ActiveX player. If you Visual Basic, then where? Okay, so you can. So what happens with that? Then you can also recognize the code which is generated by other just like Java, SAP, Oracle, .NET, SQL. So these when you check mark this, that means QTP recognizes the code and recognizes the functionalities and features of that. Okay. So let's quickly move to the next slide. Okay, so you have this recording. Okay, you need to record, right? So there is three types of recording: normal, analog, and low level recording. So what happens in the normal recording when you run the QTP? So it's normal recording. So like you can click mouse click buttons, left clicks, any left click button. It's like here. So let's say I'm clicking these buttons. Okay, let's record it. Okay, I'm putting some information here. 10. Okay, good. I'm clicking on this. So all this is normal recording. Okay, and so left click buttons of mouse are normal recording, and of course entering some alphabets and numbers, numerical values. Okay, so all these are normal. Analog recording is something like it's a little different. It also includes right clicks of mouse. Sometimes see the reason, right? See, let's take an example. Right click, when you click here, these things are different, right? The options are different. When you click here, the options are different. So these right clicks are different. So we want to do is if you're working on specifically on those kind of things, you want to do analog recording. And low level recording is it's kind of where you want to let's say take it as tab functions. Okay, you want to use the tab and click on enter. So these kind of things, it's a low level recording which are not actually cannot be recorded through normal recording. Okay, so these are the three kinds of recording modes. Okay, and you have these two types of modes: normal and fast. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Just on this user interface. Okay, good. Let's do this. Okay. So let's take care here, so this is the old user interface. It's not being used anymore. It's pretty, it's old. It is written, I think, like around 2009 or 2008, something around. Okay, it's no more being used, but the functionalities of QTP are same. Okay, they have removed these buttons and put somewhere, but these buttons are of course there in the UFT. Okay, so don't worry about it. These things will be, cannot be removed. These buttons cannot be removed. Why? Because these are the basic features of an UFT, or the UFT of QTP. These are the basic features. You cannot, remove all these. Let's quickly check one of those options. Okay, so let's go here. This is the title bar. Oops. Okay, good. So this is the title bar, where you have this title for what QTP is doing. Okay, and this is the menu bar where you have all these functions like file, edit, view, insert. So all these buttons are included in there. So there are more extra buttons which are not here. Okay, so these are basic buttons which you have in QTP. And file toolbar. So this is a shortcut. Okay, whatever these shortcuts. Okay, these file toolbars are the shortcuts because you don't want to go to a menu. Okay, and go, you want to go to file and view, you don't want to use that, so that you click on this button, that should be good. Okay, that is file toolbar. Then you have this debug toolbar. Debug toolbar is more, if you're an automation developer, you'll be using that. You want to debug your code. Let's say you have generated the code and you want to debug, you want to add some breakpoints. So you want to add some breakpoint and continue your script and run the script and see how it's going. Okay, all these things you do in this debug. This is the debug toolbar. Okay, then you have testing toolbar. So this is the testing toolbar. Okay, and where you want to record and run. So normally we'll be working more on run and stop. Okay, so this will be we'll be working more. Okay, so this is action toolbar. So what is an action? So action is, in the layman's language, I would say action is a worksheet. It's like a notepad, right? You open this notepad and it shows up. That's how what action is. Okay. Okay, so we go in detail about this action. Okay, so it just, trust me, the action is just about writing code in a space where you can write a code like notepad. You can write something in that, right? So you cannot write anywhere else, right? If you want to type, you need to open that notepad. So that is called action. So it's a worksheet. Okay. So this is layman's language. Okay, don't take it as literally that thing, but it's just to make it understand. So action is something which is workspace to write your code or to wherever the code is generated. So that's called action. Okay, so this is called action toolbar, and this is test pane. So this is keyword view. You have a keyword view and export view. In the keyword view, you have all the information, objects and properties and its values here. In export view, so this is export view where you have this code generated there. Okay, so, you have this all the code, Visual Basic Code, and it's generated there, and you can use that one. So that's the export view. We'll go detail about this. And this is a data table. So data table. This is kind of Excel, not exactly Excel. It's for it's Excel for QTP, not for us. Okay, it's a Excel for QTP. Why do we need this? The most and important use of this data table is to use for the parameterization. So we'll go in detail what's parameterization. The parameterization. Let me give you an example of why what is this parameterization all about. Let's say you have recorded all the tests. Let's say you have recorded all this, everything is good. Now you have recorded only for one person. That's me. Okay, that's me. It's I myself. But it is not like me, right? There are so many people. Let's say they are like you want to record this for 20 people, 30 people, 50 people altogether. Okay, we are testing for 50 people. So now only you cannot test with just my name and putting it right. It doesn't work that way. You need to you cannot write the whole code for 50 people. You just do it once. That's it. You cannot do it again 50 times. Now that's the way the parameterization comes into the picture. You just record once, play back many. Okay, record once, play back many. You have you can do the iteration. Just change the name here, not here exactly. You put the code, put the name here. Assign this variables here, and put your name. The same thing here with a different information instead of my name with somebody else's names and address, different address. Now you want to test this for 20, 30 people, then this is all this. That's the use of this data table. Okay, so this is called data table, and it's kind of Excel for QTP. And this is we'll go in detail for parameterization. How can we do this? And this is active screen. So this is the active screen. And whatever checkpoints you're making, checkpoints, for the field values or static values, you want to, this shows up here. Whenever you're running this gets updated once you run the script. Okay, so that's about this. Okay, so let's go in detail about each and every buttons here. Okay, so this is new. If you want to open a new worksheet or new, you can open there. Okay. And if you want to open something which is existing in your drive, okay, on network drive or wherever it is, you can open it. So this is floppy icon. If you want to save it, you can save it. If you want to print it, you can print it. Okay, and let's go here. So these are the various, views, how do you want to view, okay, one after the other, or one sheet, one after the other, the way you want to organize your QTP to look like, okay. Okay, so here, this is quality center connection, okay. So why do we need this? Okay, so that's the very basic question which arises in mind. Why would I need that? Okay, and again, like, let's go back to our same scenarios that we are not the alone who is doing this work. Okay, there are so many people who are working on. Okay, automation developer develop the code on the code. Okay, and there is a, like, automation architect who designs all the code, all the functionalities and all the features. How should be tested? How should we develop? All this automation architect will be doing that. Automation developer, will be designing all the scripts. But that script, we have to recall it. We have to run it. We are not creating scripts, right? We don't know about anything about it. We don't know anything about developing anything. So what we need, we are going to test. That's it. Testing is our job, not developing, right? So we need to recall that script. We need to recall that script. So that's the reason you need this. So, all the scripts can be stored in quality center at some point, some location. You have this URL stored there and username and password. Click on that. It, navigate to that particular directory, navigate to the particular location, get the script, upload the script here, and run the script. It's that easy. So that's the reason you need this, quality center connection. Okay, and then you have, next, let's go to this. Okay, so okay, so that is called object repository. Okay, so before going to that object repository, right, let me ask you a simple question. So what is an object? Okay, what is an object in software? So let me ask you this. Okay, we know what is an object. So I want, let's say, what is an object in a software? Can anyone tell me, like, what's an object in a software application? Let's take this simple example here. I have this website, GMOnline. Now I want to identify an object. So can anyone tell what are the various objects here? What can you define? How can you define an object in this web application? Okay. Okay, good. Anyone else? Okay, so an object is okay. Yeah, everything is an object here. Okay, this image, this icons, this buttons, text, this all the. An object is something. Okay, an object is something which contains properties and its values. Okay, an object is something which contains properties and its values. So what's the property? Let's say a simple object, in real time we have this table chair. So in a table, what does the table have? So let's say it's rectangular. That's a property of an object. What is the value? Okay, 3 meters, 2 meters. Okay. Now what does it contain? It contains height. Okay, good. Now what's the value for this? Okay, 1 meter, 2 meter. So that's again three dimensional. Okay, table is 3-dimensional. It contains 3 dimensional figures. Then it has cuboid structure. So all those things. So those are property and its value. So the similar way we have in this for software, like an object which contains properties and its values. That's simple. Okay. let's take it, let's take here, let's take this button, for instance. Okay, this button, what does it contain? It has length, okay, and it has height. Okay, this is the clicking button, so we just take it length and height. So what's the length? Okay, just 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, and height, what is half centimeter? Okay, not only that, it has, title. What's the title? Inter-GMO Online. So everyone title is different, right? Okay, and it has HTML text and so on. It has so many values, so many properties and so many values. We have defined only 3. What is its length, its height, okay, and title. So that's a property. So that's how the QTP recognizes. QTP recognizes only based on the property and its value. What is the property and what is the value? Okay. Now let's say these 3 buttons are similar. It has similar height, similar length. And how does the QTP recognize? It don't. QTP doesn't recognize it. It's confused. Which button do I need to press? The only unique property is title. Title here is Enter GMO Online, is about the GMO. So because of the title, if you put the title, name, then it knows, okay, this is the button I need to click. So it clicks that button. Okay. So QTP recognizes the unique property and its values. Okay. And there is no other name like Enter GMO Online, right? Do you see anywhere else Enter GMO on the button? There are 3 buttons here. Only unique is Enter GMO Online. Okay, so that's the title. Okay, so that's how QTP actually stores the information. That's how the QTP actually, understands. Okay, that's how the QTP understands based on the property and its value. So all that information has to be stored somewhere, right? It has to be stored somewhere. Where it has to, repository. That's called object repository. So this is what we are talking about. So that's the object repository. It's kind of database, not exactly database. It's a database for the QTP, not for us. Okay, it's stores all the information. What's the property? What's the values? What is the image? Okay, what is the button? All those things. It will be stored in that object repository. You can add your own object. You can delete your own object. You can delete the recorded object. You can add it. All those things you can do. That's all storing different together. But this is where whole information is stored about this property and values of an object. Okay, so that's about object repository. And this is a man with a hat guy. This is a man with a hat guy. So what it does? Okay, so we don't know what exact values and property does this button has. We don't know, right? That man with the hat guy, when you click on that, and again you click on this button, it shows all the information about what is the height, what is the width, okay, all those things. Okay, let's quickly check if we can see this right here. I don't think you can see this, but let's quickly check. All this information will be here itself, here. There you go. Here you go. So this is what they have done. Type is a property and this is button. This is a value. Again, name is a property, B submit is a value. And the title is Enter GMO Online. Okay, there is JavaScript, that's fine. When you click on this, it's going to Windows location and going to the next page, that's fine, we know that. So this is what, this property of an object. So that's an object and you have all these property and values located here. Now you don't even need to, that object spice. You're talking about this, right? You can look right from here, but it doesn't display everything from here. It's better to have this so that it displays a lot of information, not just simple things what is written here. It displays more than that. Okay, so that's about it. And next you have this debug toolbar where you have breakpoints. You can break it, you want to break the code and you want to run the code in between, you can do that. So that's debug toolbar. Let's go to the next one, record. So this is where you want to record your script. Okay, you may not always involved in recording, but need to record it. Okay, that's for recording. And once you record it, you can run it. So once you record, you can have this enabled. This will be enabled. Stop button. And this is action. As I told you, action in layman's language is called worksheet. Just we'll stick to that. Worksheet. This is split action. You can split an action. Okay. So you want this external action or internal action, or you want to be, you want to create as a global action. Okay, it's up to you. So that's what is split an action. Okay. And these two buttons, this is start transaction time and end transaction time. Okay, so what does it do? So when you click on the start transaction time, and you want to record it. Let's say you're recording. Okay, so these are enabled once you start recording. So once you start recording, click on this button, start transaction time. Okay, and you want to click on this button. You want to see, okay, you want to fill up all this information, and here on this page. Okay. So what we are trying to do here is with start transaction time, let's say you want to end your transaction here. So here what it does is, it sees, okay, it actually, it takes the amount of time which is navigated from that page to this page and what are the transaction it has done from that page. So it displays a lot of information when you do this. Okay. So it displays, it displays a lot of information. How much? So this is required whenever you want to know granularity of an application. Okay, you want to know the more details, like how much time it is taking to go from one page to another page. Okay, what is the performance issue? Okay, we are not completely talking about the performance. That's a different tool. But here you can also still have some idea on performance. Okay, how the application is performing, how much time it is taking, how much microseconds, how much milliseconds it's taking. Okay, all this information will be displayed in start transaction and end transaction. So you are actually trying to see the granularity between the two, from one point to another point, how the application is responding. Okay, so those about this transaction. And you have these two again, this is analog recording and low level recording. Okay, so here you can change your action. You have different action. If you're working with 3-4 projects, then you can change your actions here. Okay. Okay. And okay, so here again we are going back to our. So this is test pane. Here you see this. This is an item. That means it's an object. Okay. So this is an object. So what kind of object? So okay, we have this in this action. You have this is a parent object. Okay, so you have this parent. What is the parent object? This is a browser. The parent object. Okay, everything comes under the browser. If you don't have browser, you cannot do this, right? You cannot see other objects. So that browser is a parent object. Okay, so this is a parent object, and underneath, so there is another sub object which is this is a website basically. Okay, so this is a website, and under that comes the 2 fields, so the 2 to 3 fields, and what are the fields? So these are like sub level objects, which is parent object is the browser, because you cannot open all these dependent objects without a parent object. You need this parent object component. It's a mandatory. Okay, so and then here you see this, what kind of operation are you performing? Okay. What kind of operation? So set is normally used for the radio buttons. If you have radio buttons, you click on that, just tick mark, that's called set. Okay, click is normally for the button. Let's say you're clicking this, so that's for button. Okay, and what is the value you are giving for this? So this is a multi. That means you're adding some information. Okay, so here let's take an example here. So what is the operation and what is the? So here quantity you are adding 10. There's a value. So we are giving some value, And operation, what are the operation performing? Click, so place an order. So that's what it is trying to say here. Okay, so there's an operation, and what is the value you are, what is the value you are supplying to that. Okay, and documentation, that means what it's trying to do here. Okay, so this is about this. Oops, sorry. Okay, so this is about about this test pane. Okay, and you have this data table, as I told you, right? You need this data table for parameterization. You want to parameterize your test scripts. You want to run iterations, 1 iteration, 2 iteration, 3 iteration, and so on. 50. You want to see. You want to run the same kind. Let's say, as I've recorded this with my name. Okay, so this, because this, is a billing address. You want to test this screen. So you need to do this. You need to perform with 50 iterations, 50 different people, with 50 different addresses, with the 50 different cities, with the 50 different states, and 50 different zip codes, and 50. So all these things are different. So that's why you need this data table. So you will add each and every column, assign some variable, some variable in the script. So you have this, right? Instead of value, instead of New York, you put some, some value, okay, some variable. Say that, data table A or data table, okay, some value, and you are pointing that to here, okay, and you put that, that information what you are trying to do, okay. So that's called parameterization. You want to parameterize your test scripts for running more than one guy or two people, 3 people, so on, because we can perform recording once. We can do playback many. You don't want to record many times. There is no point using this automation tool, right? No point. If you want to record more than once, there is no point. Then do the manual testing. Why bother with this? Okay, it's no use. Okay, so that's the reason you want to use this. You are not doing, for 50 different people, you are not recording 50 different times. You are just recording once and assigning the variables and putting the data, all the data in data table and running that script. That's it. That's all about the parameterization. We'll go in detail about that. Next, this is this is about once you run the script, which shows the screenshots, kind of screenshots. Wherever you have this it's called this is the checkpoints. You want to put the checkpoints. We'll talk about that. So that's any questions here in this? So these are the this is no more this kind of this kind of UI, this kind of interfaces, not really. But the buttons remain same. Okay, the buttons remain same. But it's it's really you need to go to the menu bar and check that out. There's no more shortcuts. You can add shortcuts, of course. All the time you can add shortcuts, but the UI is not the same what is shown here. Okay, completely changed. Okay, let's go back to our slide. Okay, let's quickly go through our slides. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's move to the next one. So we already talked about this, we already talked about this object repository, right? What is the object repository? It stores objects. So what does the object contains? It contains property and its values. Look at this. It contains property and values. That's it. No other thing. There's so many properties. It has type, length, name, HTML tag, title, breadth, width, 3-dimensional, then some breadth. All those things. There's a lot of information there. Okay. So that's a property, and all this information is stored here. Okay. So that's how. That's the use of this object repository. You see this? All this is stored. So parent. Okay. This is parent object, and remaining all the children object of this parent. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next one. Object spy. No, we already talked about this object spy. What does the object spy does? Yeah, because we don't know this property and its value of this object. So you want to know this, right? So that's the use of this object spy. You want to have more information, although we can get it here. That's not good. I'm just telling you appropriate information, but it's oops. And go here. So we don't want to get this information from it. It's not a good idea. Okay, you want to go to the appropriate QTP itself. You want to check it where exactly the button is. Here. Oh, there you go. So this is what the value, place the order. And that's a title. Okay. And what's the name? Submit. B submit. Okay. And what's the type? It's here you see input 111 by 21. Okay. So it's not a good idea to look at this. That's why we use this object spy. This is not, it's not, it's not our job because this is a developer guy who will look into this and solve the problem, but it's not our, really our problem to see that. That's the reason we use this object spy. And it all displays here itself, property and its value. So, no need of going to there and looking into that. Okay. So here we quickly check how quick, it recognizes an object. So, QTP is based on the three. It's based on mandatory properties, SST properties, and ordinal identifier. Okay, so that's how the QTP identifies an object. But the only thing is, it's QTP looks for a unique property, unique value of that property. Okay, here is the usually QTP looks only uniquely to identify this an object. Okay, here let's take an example here. What's the unique of this? Okay, this is one button, so it doesn't matter. So here you have three buttons of the same size, of the same shape, of the same color, okay, of the same height, of the same length. You need to find the uniqueness here. So only the thing is, the unique is title. All the three titles are different. That's the unique. So that's how the QTP can identify. Okay, I need to click that button. So that's how you need to. Okay, so that is already coded. So that coding is actually you are telling QTP that what you are trying to code is you are telling QTP to click this button or click that button. So when you are recording it, okay, that's fine. All the objects and its properties and values are stored in object repository. So you need not worry. That comes useful only when you are doing descriptive programming. Okay, so again, descriptive programming is a different thing, where you actually need to write your own code. Why you are not dependent on anymore on object repository? Why? Because a website is dynamic. If you understand static and dynamic, static is where you have this website, it's doesn't move. Okay, it's in the place. Dynamic is keep on changing. The button was here, suddenly it's got changes properties, got changing values, okay, and displays in somewhere else. Now object repository cannot find it because it was stored in particular location at particular, at that particular instance, but it's no more, you cannot find it. So that's the reason you need this, descriptive programming for dynamic website. Okay, static website is good. No, we don't worry about it. Okay. So let's go to the next topic, synchronization. So, why do we need the synchronization? Let's quickly, so let me give an example. So let's say, you are testing this website, right? You're testing this website and you're clicking this button. Okay. So let's say, when you click that button, it had some server issue. Okay. And the server took more than expected. Let's say it moved just in, flash of a second, right? Just a microsecond, that's fine. Sometimes it takes some time, okay, because server is slow. Too many people are logging at the same time, and the server is slow. It took like 5 to 6 seconds, and QTP doesn't know, right? QTP doesn't know that there's an issue, so it shows an error. Shows an error and says it's a defect. So you need to tell the QTP like, okay, So that's not an error. It's not a, it's not an error. Server is slow, so it's taking a little time to navigate from this page to next page. Okay, so you need to synchronize. Synchronize in sense, you need to tell QTP that application is slow. So you'll be writing one code there, one line code that's called wait. Okay, wait in the bracket 10. That means 10 seconds. So wait for 10 seconds until this page loads into the next page. Okay, that's the synchronization where what you're telling to the QTP that don't be fast. Okay, you need to wait for 10 seconds so that that application moves to the next page. Then you can start your executing the other script. Okay, that's the need of this synchronization. Okay, so here you see this wait. So this is one. So let's quickly go through this code quickly. Okay, so you can synchronize just by by going here, insert step synchronization point. That's fine. Let's look into this code. Okay, really quick. So here is the window. So what is a window? It's just a pop-up. Okay, it's a pop-up button. So that's we call as a window. So there are too many names. The window, with pop-up button, dialog box. All these are used in different instances. Here we use for as a window. Flight. The window name is flight. So you put in double quotes. Put a bracket here. Dot win button. Win button since it's a button. Okay, just like a button. So that's called win button. Why win button? Because it's a Windows and it's button. Okay. Update order. So there's a button called update order. Here we have this button called place an order, right? So you click on this. And then dot wait property enabled. Okay, so you are using this and you want to add a wait statement after that. Okay, just wait 10. That means once you click on this, wait so that this page takes next page. It will take some time, so you need to wait. So that's the reason you're adding this wait. Okay, so this Windows. Let me quickly show you what the window is. This is a window, but let's quickly. So this is a window. Okay, so this is pop-up window dialog box. Okay, here we can name it as window, and window name is demo.golang.com. Okay, saying like please order something first. This is the kind of window seen here. Okay. Let's go to the next quickly. Checkpoints. So checkpoints use this to it's actually seen manually. So there's a purple color where I showed you at the beginning. Let's quickly go back to this. So did you see this purple color? Let me quickly show you that. So this purple color, you see this? That is a checkpoint. Here you use for the field. Okay, so that's called checkpoint. So there are various checkpoints we'll be using. Standard checkpoint. If you don't know what checkpoint to use, you can use standard checkpoint and click on that. Okay, so that comes the purple highlighted color. That's called standard checkpoint. Your image checkpoint. Okay, let's say you want to check this image. So click on that. You can get this image. Then you have table checkpoint. Okay, so this is a table. You want to check this. Okay, you can do that. Page checkpoint, if you want to checkpoint the whole page. Okay, whole page. Then it's called page checkpoint. Then you have text checkpoint. Okay, so this is the text. You want to checkpoint this. The purple color shows up here and it gets highlighted. So that's called text checkpoint. And you also have this text area checkpoint. Let's say you want to check the area of this text. So that's called called as text area checkpoint. Okay. Then you have bitmap checkpoint. Is similar to image checkpoint, but it's done to bitmap images. And then you have database checkpoints. Okay. So these are the various checkpoints that we can have in QTP. Let's quickly go to this parameters. Okay, so I take 5 to 15 minutes. So 10 to 15 minutes. Is everyone okay with that? We'll just finish this. Okay, so we'll just okay. So let's go to this parameterization. So we already talked about this. We want to parameterize our test cases. As I told you, why do we need this parameterization? Okay, so going back to our example, we have recorded only for one test, one person, so one guy, that's it. But there are 50 users that need to be tested. Is the 50 users working fine? That's where the parameterization comes into the picture. Because you want to see that 50 users are working fine because they have the different name, they have different, address, they have different zip code, they have different state, they have different phone number, they have different area, all those things are very different. Okay, so you want to test that all those. So that's that's called iterations. One iteration, second iteration, third iteration, so on. Okay, so you want to do parameterization here because you only record it once. You're not going to record 50 times. No, if you want to record 50 times, there's no use of this tool. Trust me, there's no point of using this. Okay. So that's the reason you need this parameterization. You are actually putting all these properties and values into that, dumping the values into the Excel, or I mean not exactly Excel, the data sheet which is provided by QTP, and entering all the information there itself. So let's quickly check here. So you have this flight from it's London. So you want to change that London into some name called item. Okay, so you're putting that item. Okay, P underscore item, and where you're pointing it. So you're saying that this is a parameter and just point it to the data table. Okay, so now that looks to the data table and stuff. What the name you're giving? P item. Okay, fine. Then you have this the global sheet. Click on this global sheet or current action if you're working on your local system, and then here you are entering these values from and to. Okay, and you're assigning this and you're running them. Now what happens is it runs 4 times. The same particular field runs 4 times. That's called London. First it goes to London to Paris, then it tests from Paris to London, then Denver to Paris, and then Paris to Denver. Okay, but we recorded only once. That's only for once we recorded, that is London to Paris. That's it. And now we are actually parameterizing that to record more than to run that same into different iterations for 5 times for 5 different things. Okay, and then once it gets recorded, this result is generated and it's either stored in default directory, or once you name the directory, it gets stored into that location. Okay, in the same way you can also parameterize a checkpoint. Okay, let's go to the next topic, types of actions. So as I told you, action in a layman language is worksheet. The worksheet, you need to write code or you need to execute, the code is generated, so all these things. So action is divided into 2 types. Regular, that is non-reusable, and reusable. Non-reusable is just used in your system and that's it. It's not reusable. Why do you need this reusable? Because to generate library files. Let's say you have created an action which calls, which you need to execute every time. You're executing it, you need to record. So then you create a reusable action and throw that into the library file. Once you get that's in the library file, you can use anytime you want. Okay, so that's called reusable. And there are 2 types you can use it: locally and externally. Locally in sense you are using in your system, externally in sense in our server. So many ping level can be used. That's called, that's what reusable is divided into 2 types. Normally actions is divided into 2 types: regular and reusable. And reusable is again divided into 2 types: locally and externally. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So you can, call an action in between the script. And here you click this button and you want to, add a new action. You can do that. Okay. So this shows, different types. Once you go click on insert, call to new action, copy new action, call to existing action. You can do that. Here you can set it reusable just by clicking this check mark, which is in action properties, which you can get this through this, option from inside. Okay, properties and action. You can go ahead and check mark as the reusable action. Okay, let's go to the next topic. Recovery scenarios. Okay, so in this recovery scenarios, right? So why do we need this recovery scenario? First thing, we have just three options: trigger event, recovery option, post recovery, run option. Okay, so let me give an example here. Why do we need this recovery scenario? Okay, so here, what happens, right? Let's say you're recording, running a script. Okay, so you're actually running a script, and because of some server issue, okay, some issue, suddenly a pop-up window shows up from nowhere. But that was not there in the application, right? It was not there in the application, and that was not expected, right? It was not expected, but we know because the server is slow and because of the software issue, we get some pop-up window just showing up from nowhere in part of that application. That's not good. Okay, so what happens, like, but QTP doesn't know. The QTP doesn't know that suddenly it shows up that pop-up window from nowhere, but it's not there in the script, and so what you want to tell the QTP is that don't worry about that window, don't worry about that. That's not an issue here. Okay, we are telling this. Don't worry about that pop-up window. We are worried about the code. Execute that script. Forget about the window, forget about the scripts, what you have done so far, execute the remaining script. So that's what you're telling the QTP. So that's called recovery scenario. Let's go through this pretty quick. So there's a trigger event. First, we know there's a trigger event. There's options here. The pop-up window, if pop-up window shows up from nowhere, click on that. If there's object state. So what you're trying to say here is, ignore that. Ignore that. If something is happening in between, just ignore that. And execute the other. So that's what you're telling that QTP. So that's called recovery scenario. Okay. So you don't want, because the reason why there's 50 hours, that is, 50 hours has been put to run that one script. Okay, there's 50. No, it takes 50 hours. And you don't want anything which shows up between. If suddenly something shows up and whole QTP stopped, and when QTP stopped, it shows an error and it stopped. So we are wasting whole time, right? Again, you need to, let's say, 49th hour, some error shows up. You wasted so much of time. So that's the reason you're saying here that just don't worry about it, and continue with the remaining scripts. Okay, so that's the trigger event. So the same way you have this various option: trigger event, recovery option, post recovery, run option. 3 types of recovery scenarios. Okay, so that's what, right? Define the trigger event that interrupts the run session, and what you need to do here, you are telling to continue with this. Okay, don't worry about it. And what you need to do, okay, continue with the post recovery test run operation. Okay, so that's about this recovery scenario. Okay, so let's go to the next topic: creating tests without object repository. As I told you already, we have already talked about this. We don't want any more object repository. Why? Because the website is dynamic. Fields keep on changing, buttons keep on changing. Sometimes it was here, suddenly it got changed to upper location, suddenly it got changed. So all this are keeping keep on happening. So you cannot expect that object repository to be same constant, and you cannot, so you cannot keep on changing this object repository. So what you are doing here is you are writing your own code. So here what we write our own code. This is called descriptive programming. Okay, so this is called descriptive programming. What you do is you put your own code. Let's say we just go through this one code. Okay, dialog. Again, I told you dialog is in pop-up window or in window. Okay, what is the property you are doing? Its name. What is the value of this? Is login. Okay, good. That means it's a login button. So basically, it's a login button. Win edit. That means it's an editable feature. It's kind of field kind of field. That's what it's saying. Win edit. See, if it's a button, win button. If it's a box, means win edit. Okay. Attach text and the agent. This is a static. It's a static name because it's saying that attach text, right? It's a static name. This is a property, of course, and it's value. So whole point is what you're trying to do is you're always giving only the property and its value in the whole code. That's what you're doing in the whole code. And that set means again, it can be radio button, or you're trying to tell what to do with that. Repeat us. So what you are trying to do is you are trying to set it. So that's a one-line code, and let's go quickly. So you can enhance your test cases, okay, by the descriptive programming. This always better to go with the descriptive programming than normal recording and playback, because it gives you more opportunity to have a better idea and the code better. Okay, but again, this is the developers, not the testers, so don't worry about it. Just have an idea so that when you are trying to execute the code, you will know some issues what the code is the issue with the code. Okay, so again, the code is always contains test object, property name, property value. It's always okay. There are some different rules. Okay, you'll be having get arrow property or get to property. So you have these two properties we use, right? Get arrow property. Get arrow property is like get runtime object. So that means RO. Okay, get arrow property. Runtime object. So what is your runtime object? So all these things we'll be using in this code. Okay. So let's quickly go through this code pretty quick. Okay, so what we are trying to do here is like window error. So let's quickly we'll try to compare with our with our application. So this is Game Online, and we click on this. So this is an error window, right? Let's go back to here. So here that's what it's saying. Window. Suddenly window showed up. So this is the window. Okay. And what's his name? Error. Good. What is his name? Okay, you can say this error, but his name is demo.borderline.com. Okay. And what's it trying to say is win button text. So that means this is a button, right? And what is this? Text. Click on OK. So this is a property and this is a value. What is the width? Okay, fine. This guy knows the width, so he has dot click. So what it's trying to say is, okay, we have the same, luckily we have the same button name. Okay. Okay. In width 50, okay, this button width is 50, it says. Okay. And what you're trying to do is dot click. That means I want to click this. Okay. So that's what a code, for one line code for that. One line code for that error button. Right? So there is an error. Window, and this is called window error. And what is this win button? No, what you're trying to say is win button. So if it is button, you say win button. If it is text, you say text. If you want to say it's edit, if it's a field, then you say edit. So win button, text is okay, and width you're saying is 50, and you're saying to click it. Dot click means you're clicking. Okay, so that's a way of writing this code in QTP. So this is all follows Visual Basic. Okay, the same way for the My Description. There is a My Description button shows up, and you want to click on that button called My Description and dot click. is giving property here and is value right in the code. Okay. So that's that's about the introduction and QTP. Any questions so far? So this was just an introduction. Okay. So if you guys need more information, you guys have this syllabus, right? Go ahead to the syllabus, and you can go ahead. There's a good website actually. If you want more tutorials, if you need to know more information about this QTP, go ahead and click on this. Okay, good. Go to the QTP tutorials. Here you have all the tutorials you need to perform for, right from understanding what all is this about and executing to 500 checkpoints, 500 checkpoints and so on. 82. Now today, when I used to have like 40, it has almost become double. Okay, so this is with the UFT. You can download the UFT, and if you want, you can work on that. Okay, this is good. And you can have the QTP scripts too. They are prepared. I think they have prepared a lot of scripts here. Very good. So we can use this scripts and try to run it. Try to see if this works. Okay. So we can go ahead and go ahead and this website if you are interested in QTP and you can learn more on this. Any questions so far? Okay, if no one has questions, can we close this class for today? So who have not done homework, please do it, by tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow is the last class for us. So hopefully, complete it by tomorrow. And you might have also got used to some of these tools, right? Get used to test management tool. You know how to test and what to test, okay? So tomorrow we'll discuss a little bit, we'll go more in detail a little bit about the testing process and stuff. Okay, so if no one has any questions, okay, thank you guys.